Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Skåne here in the south of Sweden, and we're going to return to one of my local breweries who are really rated very highly actually, and quite rightly so in my experience. The last couple of videos that I've done from these guys have been sour beers, so I thought it was about time to go back to one of their more traditional beers, I guess you could say. This brewery are particularly known for their kind of hazy New England style IPAs, and we've got one of those to look at today, and one that is supposed to be pretty damn good actually. So for this review then, we are going to go to Helsingborg in the northwest corner of Skåne, and we're having a look at another beer from the wonderful Brewski Mikrobryggeri. So this particular beer is the Triple Threat, and it's a triple hazy New England style IPA coming in at 10% ABV. So this one is a little bit of a monster, but like I say, it is supposed to be really quite nice actually. So very curious to see how this one turns out. This one has been out for a little while. I think actually by the time this video will publish, this one will be on its way out of Systembolaget to be replaced by something else. As I've told you in recent videos, Systembolaget are making it a lot easier for breweries to access the national stores and things like that, which is great, and it means that breweries can rotate their range and make new things a lot more easily than they would have been able to previously, and you can release new beers in the local range every month, which is great. So there are new beers coming out from Brewski pretty much every month, whereas before there was a couple being released in Sweden and the rest of them were either being sent out to the bars in the country or being sent off abroad for export actually. So exciting now that we can get a little bit more of the Brewski beers actually, so that's always a positive thing. But really looking forward to trying this one. This might well be the heaviest IPA that I've tried from these guys. The only heavier beers that I think I've had from them might have been some of the Imperial Stouts actually. I've had 2 or 3 Imperial Stouts from them over the last few years. So very curious to see what this one has in store, and as always I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this one. So as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Brewski Mikrobryggeri before. No doubt you will see some more at some point in the near future. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Brewski Mikrobryggeri then. So on to my brewery notes. So Brewski were founded back in 2014, and they're based in Helsingborg in the northwest corner of Skåne here in the south of Sweden. A very nice little town actually, and a place that I always enjoy visiting. So the founders of the company are Marcus Hjalmarsson, Johan Britsen, Alfred Olsson and Robin Skoglund, all of whom were largely inspired by the West Coast American craft beers. So Marcus was originally associated with the High Nose brand of beer, which is brewed at the Höganäs Brewery out on the Kullaberg Peninsula, again to the northwest of Helsingborg, and some of those beers are still brewed up there, and some of the original Brewski beers were brewed there as well, but now all of the Brewski beers are brewed in their own brewery in the old train yard in Helsingborg, a little bit to the south of the main central station. This brewery has a capacity now of over 100,000 litres of beer per month, and in 2016 they also started their own beer festival, which is called Brewskival. It had over 40 different breweries in its first year, and it's expanded year on year. I've been there in the 2nd, 3rd and 4th years, and I probably will go again this year in 2020. But they also used to open up their brewery once a month for a bar, which was called Barski, but they now have their own bar in Helsingborg which goes by the same name, and this opened up back in 2018. They sell ramen in there as well, but it's an American chef, so it's not fully kind of authentic ramen. It's a little bit of a kind of more modern twist, if you like. You get chicken ramen and all these kind of things, but it is actually very nice, and I would recommend that you go and check it out actually. That's somewhere that I need to go and film one of my out and about videos, so you'll see that at some point soon. But as I say, this opened back in 2018. Over the last few years they've continued to expand and add more beers to their repertoire, and as of March 2020, when I'm filming this review for you, they've produced over 300 different types of beer. So yeah, quite an impressive brewery, this one. They're known for their Faber series, which is the fruit IPAs. They're very well known for the hazy IPAs as well, and they're pretty damn good when it comes to Berliner Weisses and things like that as well. You've seen me review the triple berry pie and the strawberry pie recently, which are probably two of the nicest examples that I've come across from these guys in that style bracket so far. So definitely worth checking out if those are the kind of styles you're into. They used to say that they specialise in top fermentation, but every so often you will find imperial stouts from them as well, actually, which are definitely worth checking out. I'd love to see these guys have a go at a few different styles. You know, it'd be interesting to see a West Coast IPA from Brewski at some point. That would be a really interesting one. They've done Florida IPAs, New England IPAs, fruit IPAs and all this, but a good old-fashioned kind of West Coast IPA, scooping like, would be a very interesting project for Brewski, I think. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about Brewski Mikrobryggeri for the moment. Definitely one of the best known Swedish breweries these days, and definitely worth checking out if you are interested in Swedish beer. So yeah, check out the brewery website in the description below. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and you can check out the Rate Beer, Beer Advocate and Untappd pages to see all the different beers and things that they've done, because they are a pretty damn prolific brewery. So yeah, let's get on and actually have a taste of this beer then. So as you can see, this one has the sort of typical Brewski artwork. This one is a little bit less cartoony than some of the other ones that you're going to come across. The other ones, some of them have been like pencil drawn and things like that. Some of them are a little bit more kind of computer graphic-y, if you like. But this one is a little bit more kind of realistic almost, and there you can see the little Brewski man down in the bottom, on the bottom of the can there. But overall, it looks very nice, and you know, this one just looks, you know, it looks very, very nice. As I say, I think this is the heaviest IPA that I've had from these guys before, but this is one of these tall 330ml cans, the sort of Red Bull type cans actually, and they started releasing their beers in these maybe about a year and a half ago, something like that. But let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. Very curious to see what this one has in store. I think this one might have been released at the start of December 2020, so it's been in Systembolaget for maybe 2 or 3 months now. But it's definitely, as I say, it's on its way out now, I think, and they're replacing it with something else from what I gather. So if you do see this one and you want to try it, it's probably worth having a go at it just now, because it won't be around for all that much longer. So yeah, as you can see with this one, it's poured a very, very murky yellowy colour, this one. It looks like a very kind of murky sort of peach mango juice type thing. There are 1 or 2 little bits of sediment floating around in this one, so this one must have been on the shelf for a little bit. But as I always say with New England IPAs, you want them to sit for a little while and mature in the can, because if you drink them too young, then you're just going to get green basically. You're just going to get that kind of hop burn thing. But a lovely you know, a lovely hazy looking thing, and as you're always going to get with these New England IPAs, the higher you go in alcohol, the hazier and murkier you're going to get. But you could see when this one was poured, there was a solid half finger of a frothy kind of creamy ivory coloured head there. There's pretty much no light coming through this one. It is really pretty damn opaque, I have to say. So yeah, a nice looking beer, this one. So let's have a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. Nothing overly surprising about the triple threat when we consider what style it is. And the other thing about this is, I've always felt with New England IPAs that when you go above the 8.5% mark, that's when you really start to struggle with them, I think, a little bit, to cover the booze, unless you put a little bit of caramel and things in it. So I'm really curious to see what this one has in store, because it was Brewski were one of the breweries that really introduced me to this style, to be honest. But let's have a look at the aroma then and see how we get on with this one. Oh yeah, that smells really nice. So straight away with this beer you can smell that lovely kind of smooth white bready wheaty note. I think this one leans more towards the oaty side of things though, right enough. And there is a bit of that kind of grainy, bready kind of quality to this one as well. Does it tell you exactly what, if it's, some of these beers they'd only put like things in it. What does it say here? Ah, this one's got rye in it. That would make sense as to why it's a little bit more grainy actually. So yeah, corn malt, vete, havre and råg. So yeah, it's got a little bit of rye in it. this particular beer. So yeah, the aroma of that is that makes sense as to why it's a little bit more sort of grainy and things. So yeah, you've got that big kind of smooth wheaty kind of quality backing it up, some lovely kind of creamy oaty qualities in there, and a little bit of that sort of rye note as well. That's very, very nice actually. So yeah, pretty solid malt base there, and you can just smell how kind of thick and creamy this one is, but when it's 10%, that's kind of to be expected, to be honest. So yeah, lovely big malt base to this. On the hoppy side of things, on the green side of the hops, you get a little bit of earthiness out of this one, quite a big floral note out of this. It's got a good little bit of that kind of floral, slightly spicy note to it, and a lot of grassiness as well, but to me it leans towards the kind of floral side of things. Not too much to report on the green side of the hops, it is pretty much what you would expect. So on the fruity side of things, nice big passion fruity notes, some mangoes in there. It has got a little bit of that softer kind of apricot-y, papaya type, those softer kind of tropical fruits that I always mention. But there is maybe a wee teeny bit of an orangey note to this one, but I think this is mainly a big kind of tropical note. Yeah, a lot of passion fruit, good bit, yeah, a good little bit of that lighter juicy mango there, but I think this one really leans towards those kind of stronger and more pungent tropical fruits actually when I think about it. Yeah, it's got a big, this one does have quite a big sort of pungent nose to it, if you like. I really like how that all goes together. The aroma in this beer is really very, very nice. Yeah, I do like how this one goes together. It really is good. So yeah, take a little bit of time and just enjoy the aroma of this one. It's pretty kind of straight up. There's not anything overly surprising about this aroma, especially if you know the other Brewski beers. The thing that sticks out for me is that the malt base comes across as a little bit more grainy, but it is a big, you know, thick beast of a beer, and at 10%, when it's a triple IPA, you are going to expect that one. So this one is a triple New England IPA at 10% ABV. I was talking with Harry over at Blue Nose Beer Reviews about this, because I said, oh, I don't think you can really go above 8.5 with these New England ones, and he pointed out other half to me, so I need to try some of the other half triple IPAs and see what they're like. So it'll be interesting with this, because as I say, this is a triple IPA as well, and this is a brewery who I know are very capable with these New England style beers. So yeah, let's have a look at this one then and see how we get on. This one is the Triple Threat IPA, a triple New England IPA, hazy IPA, whatever you want to call it, coming in at 10% ABV from Brewski Mikrobryggeri in Helsingborg here in Skåne in the south of Sweden. Let's get stuck into this one. Slange, skål. That's really pretty nice actually. This one, I mean, it's in very good condition. Actually, I think we're getting this one just kind of in the sort of, it's a little, you can tell it's a wee bit past its sort of prime, if you like. You can tell it's just a little bit past its prime, but it's still got a hell of a lot of flavour to it actually. It's still got a good little bit of that big kind of floral spice actually, which is nice. So, you know, thumbs up to Brewski for this. When you're brewing a big 10% beer like this, it is going to last a little bit longer, but I think this one comes across really very nicely. I'm a bit disappointed that I didn't try this one before. I can't remember why I didn't, to be honest. I think I got another beer from Brewski that was a little bit different rather than try this one. I think I picked one of the IPAs. I think they might have released like 2 or 3 at the one time, and I picked one of the other ones and just never got around to reviewing this one. So maybe that's the reason why I didn't pick this one at the time. But yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed in myself now, I have to admit, because this is really pretty nice. It's very easy to drink as well. This is definitely one of the thicker and creamier IPAs that I've come across from Brewski, because if I compare Brewski to some of the American breweries, I would always describe Brewski as being a little bit more akin to the likes of Trillium, to be honest. Brewski's beers are always a little bit more kind of bitey and wheaty, I think, but this one really is a little bit more kind of smooth and creamy along the lines of one of the Treehouse ones. So that's an interesting point to make about this. I think this beer has a little bit of a different approach compared to some of the other Brewski ones that I've had, but I'll say straight away it is exactly the same quality as you would expect from this brewery if you know them, so thumbs up to them here. And at 10% it does cover the alcohol really pretty well, so that concern I had about it being above 8.5, that isn't the case. But you know, I've said that in a few videos now. I kind of think about it as that, you know, brewing is always evolving, so that when I would have said that, it's maybe about a year and a half ago. That's a long time in the craft beer world, so obviously they've evolved, they've created and developed new methods to sort of get round that, new malt bases and all of this, and this one obviously has a little bit of that in it. But yeah, let's try and break down the flavour of this one then. So straight away in the middle of your palate you can feel that nice kind of white bready, wheaty kind of quality. I think the wheat and the kind of more bitey, wheaty notes come out towards the back of the palate. As you come further forward you can feel a little bit of the kind of rye graininess in there, and that comes out especially as you go further and further into the aftertaste. You do definitely get a little bit of a more kind of grainy quality out of this beer the further forward that you come, but then as you start to move into the kind of front part of the palate, that's when the oaty creaminess pushes its way out of the beer. In the very centre of the tongue you do get a little bit of a kind of biscuity sweetness. It's not quite caramelly, it is more like a kind of McVitie's digestive type sweetness to a bit more of a McVitie's digestive type sweetness that comes out of this beer, but it works, you know, it works really quite well actually. I like how this one goes together. So definitely more of a kind of thick, creamy malt base, rather than being a lighter, kind of wheaty, bitey type one that you would have come to expect from Brewski in the past. But it gets a thumbs up from me. I really quite like that. The smoothness that they've got out of this is really very good, and it covers the alcohol very well. But you can tell just from the strength of the flavour in this one that it is a little bit more boozy. On the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate you've got a nice little bit of earthiness in there. As you come further forward along the side of the tongue, it's a little bit more kind of floral and aromatic. It's got a good little bit of a kind of floral spicy note to it, but as I say, that's not as prominent as it might have been when the beer was fully fresh, if you like. I think this one's been in the can maybe about 4 weeks or something like that. But it is still in good condition in terms of the fruitiness, but you can tell some of the hoppy notes are just starting to drop off a little bit. But it does have a nice little bit of floral aromaticity on the front corners of the palate, but as you go round the front curve of the tongue, it's just that little bit lighter and grassy, and then behind the front curve of the palate, that's where you get that nice oily bubble where those juicy fruity esters are starting to push their way out of the beer. So yeah, for me, this one, it really leans actually towards that nice juicy end of the spectrum. If you go to the back of that oily part of the palate, or the fruity part of the palate rather, you do get a bit of that kind of stronger passion fruity note, that more pungent passion fruity quality, which is nice. So pardon me. So yeah, you've got that. As you come further forward from that, it evolves to be a little bit more of a kind of milky passion fruit. I'm not sure exactly what hops they would have used in this. I think it might be a bit of Galaxy or something like that, but I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you, if there was a little bit of Simcoe or something in here as well, because some of the notes out of this are very nice, but it could be the oats just sort of mixing in with that. But this beer doesn't have lactose or dextrose or anything like that in it to make it, pardon me, creamier. This one is all malt and oats from what I gather, and rye of course. So that's an interesting point to make about this one. But as I say, nice big, slightly pungent passion fruity note. It's a little bit more of a kind of juicier mango note in front of that, and then you start to get some of the apricot-y qualities in there as well. And as you reach the front of the palate, you might be forgiven for thinking there's a few sort of kind of orangey, sort of tangerine notes there. Maybe a little bit of that mosaic kind of coming out. So I'm not sure exactly what hops there could be in this. Could it be just a... Could it actually just be a Citra and Mosaic? Could it be? Or could it be Galaxy and Mosaic? Something like that. I'm not sure. As I say, I always like playing guess the hops with these things. But yeah, definitely passion fruit, then mangoes, a little bit of an apricot-y, papaya type thing further forward from that, and then you've got some sort of tangerine oranges and a little bit of a... There is something else kind of coming out the front of that. It's not gooseberry or lychee, but it's something kind of along the same lines as that actually. But yeah, the orange, I really do get more and more of the tangerine notes out of this the further you go into the aftertaste. There is a little bit of that kind of rye, there is a little bit of a sort of rye-ish quality to this beer in the middle of the palate too. You do get a little bit of that sort of grainy note out of it, which I really quite like. So yeah, I like how this one goes together. This gets a big thumbs up from me, and it does certainly make me think a little bit more about the triple IPA style. I don't know if Brewski will bring out more of these actually. I assume they will, because it's a style that they really like to do, but I would love to see them try a couple of West Coast IPAs with the more caramelly malt base as well, because if they can do something like this and get that sort of smoothness out of it, do it with a bit of caramel and have that. I mean, this, in some ways, this reminds me of the Hey Femme that I had from Dry and Bitter over in Denmark recently. It had a really beautiful kind of smoothness like this, but it also had a little bit more of a sort of caramelly sweetness to it as well, which worked out very nicely. So this beer, in some ways, does remind me of the Hey Femme from Dry and Bitter. I really liked that one actually. So yeah, thumbs up to Brewski for this one. This might well be the best IPA that I've had from them yet, and that's, you know, the best one, my favourite one that I'd had so far would have been the Conan double IPA. That still would have hands down been the best one that I'd had from them so far. That's a beer, it might be a bit of a nostalgia value to be honest, but Conan double IPA is the one that I always remember really striking me, but this one I think does kind of strike me in the same sort of manner. This really is very, very well done. So yeah, this, I need to remember that. Conan and Triple Threat are probably my favourite ones that I've had actually. So yeah, I do wish on the cans as well they would tell you a little bit about why they're named as they are. It would be nice to have a little bit of a kind of blurb from Brewski on them, but they never really do that. But yeah, beautiful New England Triple IPA. That's what you really need to take away from this review. Definitely worth trying if you get the chance. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel then, pretty full-bodied. Carbonation is really smooth in this one. The mouthfeel overall is very, very smooth. At the same time, it has a degree of oily character and a degree of wetness to it, so for 10% it is actually pretty damn drinkable. In terms of its hoppy bitterness, I think this one is about 40-ish IBUs. This one is not going to blow the head off you in terms of the bitterness, but it might well have been a little bit more than that when it was fully fresh, if you like, but I don't think it's dropped very much. You do get about 40-ish, maybe 50 IBUs at a push out of this beer as it stands. Malt base, like I say, very smooth, kind of thick and creamy. There's a degree of sweetness to it as well, and the fruity notes are kind of nice and big and juicy also. But yeah, a really, really nice beer, this one, and I'm very glad that I was able to review this for you. Definitely nice to review this beer after you know, after almost having missed it actually. So hopefully this is one that returns to Systembolaget, because I think this is pretty damn good actually. So big thumbs up to Brewski. I would put this in my top 2 or maybe 3 IPAs that I've had from them, along with Conan double IPA. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This one was the Triple Threat IPA, a 10% triple New England IPA from Brewski Mikrobryggeri in Helsingborg here in Skåne in the south of Sweden. I really enjoyed this one, and I hope that you guys enjoyed my take on it as well. So yeah, once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Brewski as well, and I'm sure that I'll catch you guys again soon with more reviews from these guys. I do have one more IPA coming in from them soon, so it won't be too long until you see that video, and there are a few more coming through April as well, so I'll see what I can get. But thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Triple Threat, Triple New England IPA, 10% from Brewski Mikrobryggeri in Helsingborg, Skåne here in the south of Sweden. Slange, skål, cheers.